May we have a roll call, but before we do that, let's welcome another new member, Karen Roby. Thank you so much for volunteering your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so let's have a roll call.
Ms. Cundy?
Here.
Ms. Hines? Here. Ms. House? Mr. Harrington?
Here.
Mr. Jones? Ms. Roby?
Here.
And Ms. McClain? Here.
All right, motion to excuse Mr. Jones. He had an emergency this morning. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mrs. Himes, second. Second, Ms. McClain. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like, sign, opposed. Wait a minute, we are missing someone else, aren't we?
Yeah, Mrs.
And I have not heard from her.
All right, well,
House.
Mrs. House.
House.
Yeah.
Have you heard from Ms. House at all, June?
I have not heard from Ms.
She may be
House.
late.
She may be trying to find a place
Yes,
to park.
yeah, I know.
All right, well, we have a quorum and we can start. If we have to, at the end, we can make a motion to excuse her, because
Right.
she's always here. Yeah, okay. All right, has everyone had a chance to read the minutes?
Yes.
Okay. Any additions or corrections? Motion to approve? Mrs. Himes made the motion, second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Harrington, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like, sign, opposed. Motion carries. Okay. Anybody need to disclose any ex parte communications?
For those of you who are new on the board, if you receive any information, either in written form or in met somebody, say in public, something like that, brought information about this case, just disclose it. I was at Publix and I met my neighbor who asked about the case. Best thing to do is not talk about it at all.
Right.
You can avoid talking about it at all. That's the best policy. But if for some reason you do get information, just disclose it and you'll be fine. But as I said, the easiest thing is I don't want to talk about it.
Right, that is the easiest thing to do, to say I can't.
Can't.
Yeah. And if you get emails, you can send them. I would always send them to Miss Barnes if I got an email, just to disclose that someone had sent me an email about a property.
And that also includes talking to other board members about
Yeah.
Yes. You're not supposed to talk to each other about the cases.
Yeah. Okay. Now, any announcements, Madam Secretary?
Yes, ma'am. Case number 7, CEB 10-18-124 at 1308 Ginsburg Drive is in compliance 11/6/2018. And case number 19, 11/18-144 at 345 Hartford Avenue is in compliance 10/29/18.
Good. All right. Any other announcements? All right. Would the code officers please come forward and be sworn in?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give God provides the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
All right, everyone, here's our procedure. We'll be calling the cases by number, and for the most part in order as they are listed on the agenda. If there are any attorneys present that need to be in court, we will hear those cases first. If there are any police officers who must get back to their assignments, we'll hear those cases first. When your case is called, please come forward and be sworn in. State your name and address for the record, and if you're not the owner of the property, please state your relationship to the owner of the property. Our proceedings are recorded, so please speak directly into the mic. We hear from the code officers first, and then you'll be given the opportunity to respond. And please direct all your responses to us. Witnesses may sometimes testify using the same procedure. If we go past 11 o'clock, we'll take a break. I don't know that we'll need to today, but you never know. There's always a case that surprises us. So if that's the case and we need to take a break, we'll take a break for 5 minutes and we'll come back, and then anybody that's left will hear those cases first. because we see that a lot of people don't show up, so we're not going to discuss a case where nobody's here when you're all sitting there waiting to testify. All right. So
this is a quasi-judicial board. All your testimony will be taken under oath, and you'll be sworn in at the appropriate time. Thank you, ma'am.
all right, we don't have any lien reviews today. Okay, so we'll go right into number 7, hearing of cases, and we start with our continued cases. So case number 1 is CEB 1018-138, Rodney J. Dunkley at 587 Bentwood Drive.
Good morning.
Good morning. Is he here?
No,
Bentley?
he
No.
did call and leave me a message. He was here last month. And
Yes,
I
he
don't know
was.
if he's thinking that because he called, he's the one that is going to take a lot of work to get that house done. He called and said that he's going through the home equity process and he's getting bids to get the work done.
You want to put the pictures
thought it
up?
was-
Yeah, let's.
So
can
I
we-
would kind of like to amend at least to the next cutoff. I mean, I don't, and possibly he'll know what his status is for the home equity loan and how much time he's going to need to do the repairs.
do we have pictures?
There.
Uh-huh.
He's the one that, yeah. I don't think it's a lot of work to be done. He wouldn't even probably be able to do it in 30 days.
I don't recall, does he live in there? Or?
He lives in there. Like I said, he did leave me a message to let me know that he's in the home equity process and he's getting bids and that. So he is working at it. So I would like to amend it to the next cutoff at least, and we can find out where we stand.
House is in pretty rough shape.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's
by
gonna
the
take a lot of
pictures
work.
that I
It's
see.
gonna take a lot of work.
Uh,
I mean, he's trying to make an effort and go through it. I would rather see it get fixed than stay the way it is.
So he was here last
meeting.
month?
Yeah.
Was he here before?
No, the last month was the first.
Okay, first time last month. What's everybody think about this? Okay. All right.
I mean,
Gotta give him a chance.
and if
Mr.
we,
Harrington, what do you think?
I think that if I were a bank, I'd have a hard time giving a home
That's
equity
correct.
loan.
I don't know that you even have to have your home appraised or anything to
Oh,
get a
yes.
home
Oh,
equity,
yeah.
do you?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, fine.
Or line of credit or whatever he's going to get. I mean,
Okay.
and then possibly next month he can tell us where he stands.
Well,
And
you might
we'll go
convey
from
to
there.
him if he doesn't show up next time, we may not grant the extra time.
like I said, he left a message. I don't think he's.
Well, it looks to me that they're. Well, I'm not going to guess.
You let him know the board wants him here next month.
Yep.
Yeah.
I will.
At least he's keeping.
I thought he was going to be here, but
Yeah.
Was this, was there a complaint by any neighbors or anything?
this came as a complaint.
Okay.
All right, a motion has been made by Mrs. Himes to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow the respondent until the next cutoff date, which is December 5th, 2018. To come into compliance, be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day until compliance is achieved. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second, Mr. Harrington. All in favor say aye. Like sign opposed. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. Case number 2, CEB 10-18-125, Cheryl Taft at 244 Lexington. Respondent present. Respondent was not here last time.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Anthony Jackson, attorney for the city of Daytona Beach.
Good morning.
This is before you for imposition of a fine. The inspector is Danny Garcia. Mr. Garcia reports that he's had no contact with the respondent. There's been no changes. He's requesting a $200 fine to a maximum of $10,000, $200 per day fine to a maximum of $10,000. And I would tender Mr. Garcia to give you any additional facts you need.
Okay. Mr. Garcia, let me ask you a question. Does she live there?
Yes, she does.
Okay.
And these are all complaints generated by the neighbors.
Uh-huh. Well, not showing much interest, huh? No contact, no nothing.
No, not since the
And
last
is
hearing.
the roof damage causing any kind of health, safety, or welfare problem? And is it a hole in the roof?
You can stand in the street, in the road, and you can look up in the second floor, and you can see right through to the other side.
I mean, is it a situation where maybe some liability involved because of the fact that we let it go for a while?
I can't say if it's a safety issue or not. I think it's pretty bad. I contacted John Cecil downstairs.
Yeah,
with the
I was
demo
gonna
part,
ask you about
and
that.
He stated that it wasn't ready for demo yet.
It's not
at
ready,
this
okay.
point.
Okay.
So it's not going to be referred to the demo board yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
All right. Well, Chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $200 per day against the respondent effective today, November 8th, 2018, and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches the maximum of $10,000. Such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Harrington. Second, Mrs. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Case number 3, CEB 10-18-128, Sharon and Shoshana Ofer, maybe.
Do that.
Okay. Come forward, please. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Anthony Maroney with First Place Realty and Property Management.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
And are you the property manager for this property?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And you have then permission from the Ofers to speak on their behalf.
Yes, they've had me work on getting the bids for the roof. Yes.
Okay, so someone else was here the last time. Miss Arsley was a tenant, and Mrs. Kinsler,
Yes.
who was
and-
the property manager at that point.
Yes, she is also, and she just didn't have at that time proposals for doing the roof over, but I do now.
Okay, well, let us hear from the code board, and then we'll let you explain what you'd like to explain. And we're here because there is no permit for the roof.
Yeah, and I don't know if
Okay.
Mr. Maroney's saying that the previous property manager was working for him or...
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for imposition of a fine. The inspector is Tom Klieg. Mr. Klieg reports that it remains in noncompliance, and nothing really happened. He's asking for a $100 a day fine to a maximum of $15,000.
This is rental property then?
Yes, it is. And I will tender Mr. Klieg
Okay.
for additional
Okay.
facts if you desire.
I'm having trouble seeing the roof.
Yeah, when I got the call, the roof was done. It was tenants did it, and they pulled the tarp down too. So
So there's no tarp on the roof.
there was a little small blue tarp.
Yeah, I can kind of see that.
That's
Uh-huh.
as close as I can get to it. I didn't have a
Right.
but the tenant did the roof, and there was no permit on it.
Oh, so is the roof finished?
Yeah, it was finished.
Did they never permit that?
But they didn't have a permit?
Right.
Okay,
They told me the tenant said he did the roof, and
okay,
they pulled the tarp down when I was getting there. So,
okay, hold on a second.
and I think they testified last meeting to the fact.
Yeah, I think that's true, yeah, okay. Mr. Maroney, what would you like to tell us?
Well, it's not done. It looks like it's done, but there's a little bit that was left, but we didn't have a permit to go up there. And the tenant is a roofer, but he should have went up to patch his own roof, and that's all it was supposed to be. But he did one side of it, and there's a little bit left. So then when we did find the notice and found out we need to get the permit, then we tried and that a whole month or so went by and we never had the proposals. But now I have 2 proposals for Robeson and Collins Roofing, and I'm sure the owner's going to give one of them the job pretty quick.
When did you apply for the permit?
Robeson and Collins, neither one of them applied for the permit yet.
Why?
We just received the
bid?
The bids recently. That took a little work, and they've been busy for a long while. Now they're finally catching up, which is good, because I have 4 or 5 of them that have to be done.
So the roof isn't finished.
There's a little bit left to finish that side of the roof, and that's all it needs. It didn't even need that much. I'm not a roofer, but yes, the roofer is going to redo the roof, the left side of the roof in its entirety now.
Okay, so you need a permit for that.
Yes, I'm 99.9. I'm sure they can pull it in this month of November.
Do you happen to have with you these proposals?
Yes, yeah.
I'd like to see them.
When did you receive the proposals?
Just last, I think the 26th, Collins and...
Collis. Yeah. These are reputable roofers, by the way.
Yeah. You have just one proposal.
I have one other one. Unfortunately, it's went to spam or somewhere. This morning they said I called them and I said, "Where's the proposal?" And they said they sent it. We couldn't find it. It's probably on my phone now because they had to email it to me. Robeson's.
Do you feel 30 days from now you're going to have the proposal signed?
Oh, the proposal will be signed. I hope they can do it within 30 days. But
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
Well, what we're here for is you need a permit.
Yes, sir. I'm in.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, if I could just remind the board that even though what he needs is a permit because they started this work without a permit and never
Correct.
completed it, they won't be done until it's final, so they still will need that time to do the whole job.
Yeah.
We understand permitted plus inspection approvals.
All right. Anybody have any comments from the board?
No, I'd like to move on Mr. Sieg's recommendation.
Mr. Quigg, yeah?
Please, sorry.
Yeah, I think we need to speed this along too, especially since you have the proposal in front of you. Any other comments? Okay.
Because of what I said a moment ago, I just want to make sure it's not anything that's confusing.
Okay.
The position of the city is that they've had enough time. They started this work without permits.
Correct.
They hadn't taken care of it. We're asking for a fine.
Yes.
But if
Yeah,
you give
I
them
get it.
time, they'll need the time to complete the job, if that's what you like.
What is your time schedule here? Let's say 60 days?
Well, all I know is I've been calling most of this year and 5 months behind. They're all 5, 6 months behind. No good excuse maybe. Maybe there's more people in Orlando. We've tried some of those too. But finally, a whole bunch of these roofers are getting freed up. They're doing their proposals faster. Finally, we have the proposal, and now out of these two, Mr. and Mrs. Sanchez will actually hire one of them. Ofer and the owners should hire someone right away, of course. And they'll pull a permit in this 30 days, in the next 30 days, I'm sure, but I'm not 100% sure they're going to have that roof done, because even though it's just a little bit, they're going to do the whole thing over.
Pulling the permit is is the first step. You can't do anything without getting a permit. And the issue is that they did the work without a permit.
Yeah, those tenants have been evicted, but that's neither here nor there.
So is there anyone in there now?
It's empty.
It's empty now.
I would like to say that we just did a roof, and the company came out, they gave us an estimate, we applied for a permit, that roof was done in less than a month.
Oh.
I mean, it was fast.
People have a lot different stories about roofs and what's going on in the industry, and it's difficult.
They could still pull the permit, though.
They could pull the permit, is exactly what I think.
When you have the proposals from
You have
permit
proposals.
before you get the proposals if you need to.
Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you.
Normally, it's if you
I
have
don't
a
know, is that
contractor,
right?
he pulls the permit.
The
Right.
permit, I think, comes from the roof.
Yeah, but if the owner pulls one themselves.
Oh, but the owner don't live there. Can he still pull it?
No.
No, it's commercial.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay,
thank you,
yeah,
thank you.
no.
I'm trying to
Commercial
a
prop-
couple little things. Thank you.
Yeah,
Licensed
it's commercial
contractor.
property, so no, you cannot. You have to have
When
the
the
roofer
contract's
pull the
signed,
permit.
then the contractor will have to pull the permit
That's
immediately.
what I thought, yeah. Thanks.
So do we want to give 30 days or 60?
30 days is the most that I would give
Okay.
at this point. So I'll craft a motion. The chair will entertain, excuse me? Well, we'll have to come back and then we impose the fine. Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until December 5th, 2018 to come into compliance and be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day until compliance is achieved. Is there such a motion? Motion, Mrs. Himes. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Roby. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. So you need the permit by next month, by that date. And make sure you call call Mr. Klieg and tell him that you've
Yes.
done this.
Okay, good. Now, once the roofer pulls a permit, if he doesn't get the job completed...
That will be another issue.
Okay,
And then you
okay.
talk to Mr. Klieg about that. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Case number CEB 10-18-133, Saeed and Nasim Mirza. Please come forward. Good morning. Okay, I remember.
Kaz Mirza.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Can't forget.
Uh-huh.
James Brennan, General Manager of the property.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
That this is an unfair advantage. You realize that?
Not to me.
Oh, not to Mr. Harrington, but okay. We'll hear from Mr. Jackson first and Mr. Klieg, and then we'll give you a chance to tell us what's going on in your mind. Go ahead.
Yeah, Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for imposition of a fine. The inspector is Tom Klieg. This is a case that was initiated back in May. The respondent is in noncompliance. They were denied the use that they were seeking back in July. They failed fire inspections even as late as October 15th. And so at this time, the inspector is asking that the $250 administrative fine be imposed, and that they request that they.
So is this up to
use.
20,000?
No, this would be right now. The violation is not having a business tax receipt, and that's
Just a one-time $250.
$250 administrative fine. And if there's any other factual questions, I'm sure Mr. Klieg can speak to those.
Mr. Klieg?
Yes, ma'am.
What's the holdup with this?
They just failed an inspection on fire inspection on the 15th of October. Electrical room, mostly what I just talked to the fire inspector for when I came up. He said that it was a sprinkler system.
It was what?
Sprinkler system
Oh,
that
okay.
has to be done. So.
Okay.
But the list is, if you want to see it, it's a copy of the fire inspector.
No, but if it's basically, but they failed the fire.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what we need
Right.
to, and so they won't be able to get
Right.
their business tax
Right.
receipt until that's corrected.
Right.
Okay?
Can you tell me when you took this property over?
Which, we've corrected a lot of deficiencies.
Everything.
The fire marshal, that list he's talking about.
Okay.
And we've made appointments, and we're scheduled today, actually, for an inspector to come in for the green tag.
Wigginton,
So we can move
they're
forward.
the fire sprinkler company that's
Yeah.
supposed to green tag us after the inspection. So that's scheduled
It's
already. And
basically-
So
signed.
all of those things have been taken
Yes,
care
ma'am.
of on your
And
list?
excepting the fire sprinkler system, which is Wigginton, the contractor. They're the company that's going to come and do the inspection. We have we signed the contract already. They're for inspection for the sprinkler system. So they'll come today. Hopefully they'll green tag us today, but if there's any deficiencies noted, then we have to have time to fix them.
Which we've corrected off of the fire marshal's inspection previous. But it's been down to scheduling constraints, kind of like the roofing thing, which we're asking, if please, for an extension to make sure that we're trying to comply with everything you're asking and they're asking, but it comes down to time constraints. We try to get someone to come in, they don't show up, then we got to get another one. They never show up, or they do. It's always down. They put us off a week or a week after just to get them to come to the building. We're trying everything in our power to do whatever they ask us to do. So we're here to just, I guess, ask you for a little bit more time.
How long have you had this property?
Sir?
How long have you had this property?
It's been my father bought it and he passed away, sir. It's probably been about between a year or 2 years. I
So
don't
it
know.
should have been fixed up probably 2 years
During the
ago.
inspection, when it was bought, we bought it as a distressed property from a bank, and the bank neglected it completely. Like, you should have seen the place before we got it.
I came on board about 8 months ago and corrected a lot of things that I've seen. You know, outside maintenance, inside maintenance. So,
Have you rented this in any of that time?
sir.
Have you rented this property in any of that time since you've had it?
Well, we've been coming back and forth to meetings and stuff to find out if we could or not, and things have happened.
So it's not occupied and
not
hasn't
active,
been
no
occupied
activities.
all that time?
So let me ask Mr. Jackson a question. What do they need to do to obtain the business tax receipt?
They have to obtain it, they have to get a definition of use. Right now, the use that they've been using it for was for a church.
Right.
It was not approved for that. That use was denied. They sought the use designation. That use was denied. So it should have no use at this point until they've made some determination of how they intend to use it. So at this stage, that's what compliance would be. We're not. I believe the best understanding I'm getting from the inspector is that that's something they're still working on. There's no, and to our best knowledge, they're still using it. I'm looking here at business
Using
cards
it
and
for
other
what?
things that they've defined as
A church?
Yes, the directions and I mean as the business card for the address and so forth for the church.
But it was denied
That use was denied back in July.
because of zoning issues, because of what? Do we know?
I don't know that answer. I'd have to.
To our knowledge, it was the fire inspection. And we misunderstood during the meeting with Jim Morrison about church and everything. We thought we had it.
Well, I don't know that the fire inspection, what I'm asking is how is the fire inspection related to the business tax receipt?
The fire inspection in itself isn't related. What's related is the need for them to have a business tax.
Correct.
To have a designated use.
Right.
And so that use hasn't been defined. And
Okay.
whatever use
And
they
so all
sought,
you're asking for is the one-time $250 fine.
That's correct. Apparently, whatever use they sought is a use where the fire inspection would have been a necessity, and it
Right.
didn't meet the standards required for
Right.
that use. I mean, the most current or most recent inquiry for use. So they're still trying to determine a use that would
Okay.
Be
Fit.
sufficient for that
Okay.
location.
All right. The chair will entertain a motion to impose a one-time administration fee of $250 for a lack of business tax receipt. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Harrington. Is there a second? Second, Mrs. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. All right. The next case, 09, case number 5, 09-18-95, Paul and Beatrice Zavitsky. Are they present? Oh, come forward, please. Yeah, you can come forward. Good morning, and be sworn in.
Good morning.
And state your name and address.
Paul William Zavitsky, 840 North Halifax Avenue, Daytona Beach.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to provide is the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll hear from Mr. Jackson and then Mr. Jones.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you from position of a fine. The inspector is Mark Jones. Mr. Jones reports that this property remains in noncompliance. This case was initiated back in March of this year. The tenant has done some work, Mr. Jones reports, but he has 3 rental units. It just hasn't done enough to get it done. It's been since March, and so we're asking for a $100 per day fine to a maximum of $15,000. I turn to Mr. Jones for any additional factual information that you desire.
Mr. Jones, when was the last time that you went and determined that the work wasn't sufficient?
My last inspection was on May 24, 2018. My first inspection was back on October of 2017. So the rental inspections have been going on for over a year.
These properties rented out?
At the time of my last inspection, one of the 3 units was rented, but talking with the owner, he has stated that none of them are rented at this time.
None of them are rented. Okay.
The owner lives, is that right? You live there?
I live in one of the 4 units.
And the other 3 are vacant? Come up for a second. And the other 3 are vacant?
They are now, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, do you understand what you have to do to get your rental license?
Very much so. Very much. I've been working on this here for over a year. And, yeah, I'm very much aware of it. The big problem is that at the time we had our first inspection, I was doing a renovation to upgrade and modernize and refurbish the units. So I had a vacancy, and I tore out the kitchen cabinets, tore up the floor. I got an inspection, and part of the inspection included the torn up floor and the missing cabinets. In the interim, I had another tenant move out, and I said, well, if I'm doing this work, I might as well do them in both units. So I bought cabinets for the other unit and removed the kitchen floor. I put in over $10,000 worth of material. I have all my receipts here for all the material I bought. $1,700 for cabinets at Lowe's and $1,400 somewhere else. All my receipts for 2018, and I'm working on it diligently. I have a contractor, it happens to be my brother, Zivco Developments from Ormond, and he and his wife and son have helped me out a lot. And one of the apartments is almost pristine. It's almost like walking into a hotel room complete. The other one needs the flooring in the living room, and that's the last thing to go down. There's a certain financial and protocol to putting these things in. If you do the floor first, and you're going to fix the ceiling and the plaster and drill holes for the fan, the floor gets damaged. So we didn't put the floor in. So those things that are remaining are the last things to be done. I'll give you a quick list of the things that I did do.
Is Mr. Jones aware of what you have done? Have you been in contact with him?
But I told he was going to come out and do another inspection. He says, are you in compliance? I said, no, I'm not. He said, well, when you're in compliance, call me. And I'm not in compliance. I know I'm not. But you can bet I'm not dragging my feet. I have my entire pension tied up in this. I'm on Social Security. I can't get a loan. I don't have an income. So I have to use, I'm being penalized just by not having the rent. This next month, I have a $5,000 county tax bill. I just paid my insurance. So I got a lot of outflow and no input. I have to get it done. And I'm working as hard as I can.
Mr. Jones?
May I say one other quick thing? One of the reasons I delayed it last year is I had a blood infection that got through me, and I spent 3 weeks in the hospital. I spent 6 weeks with an IV pump, pumping antibiotics into my heart because it attacked my aorta. And I couldn't do anything for 6 to 9 months after that. So everything was on a hold. I'm back on my feet. I'm trying to get it done.
So there's only one unit that you live in, one unit, and none of the others are rented?
None of the others are rented. So I have no income at all to assist me in getting it done. I would like to say one other thing. I was burglarized last year, and these are the items that were taken, both pages. These got returned by the police from the pawn shop. These are still missing. After the whole month of agony trying to get all my tools back, and my saws and my drills and my personal property, that nothing got done. And so I was delayed.
I need to ask Mr. Jones a question.
Yes.
When was the last time that Mr. Zavitsky called you?
Oh, a week to 2 weeks ago. We have been staying in touch.
You are in touch.
He asked if I would be able to come out and inspect the property and put one of the apartments into compliance, and I'd be able to say, and I told him I could not, that all 3 would have to be completed before I could put them into compliance.
So
But I have been in communication with him. He has been calling.
Confused here. Why does he need a rental license at all if he has no tenants?
I haven't challenged that yet, but I do want the rental license. I don't want to start from scratch. If I can get another couple of months, I will be able to satisfy this group.
Yeah, I understand that, but why we
Well,
would
he
hear
applied for a rental license and paid for a rental license. Going along with that, you have to pass a rental inspection every other year.
Right.
And so that's
if
where
you
we
have
are.
tenants.
No, if you have a current rent, to keep your rental license current, you have to have the property inspected every other year.
He doesn't have a current rental.
He has applied for a rental license and paid for it. It's the thing that's holding up getting issued is getting the rental inspection.
All right, now one other thing I want to point out is that this has been going on for a very long time, and I think the first time you were here, Mr. Zavitsky, was a couple months ago, and we gave you 2 months.
I asked for 3 months because I knew...
And we gave you 2.
It would take me a month to do each unit. I knew that was coming up. So one's done. I was a little slow on the second one. 1 more month I can get the third one done, but I would like to get another 60 days, and I guarantee all 3 will be done. Move-inable.
I don't see what harm there is in this. There's nobody living there. There's nothing being violated.
Living in a substandard condition. There's no urgency to get it done other than your...
Mr. Jones, in your opinion, is the outside of the property kept up?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I can attest to that. I walk by his house a lot.
Okay.
So I don't see any...
You don't have an independent knowledge, though.
Right.
I don't see any problem. He's paid for this license. So how are we going to find him
All right,
for that?
so I think what I'd like to do, I'm agreeing with you, is give him a little more time at this point. Maybe not 2 months, but 1 month. And I want when you come back here, I want very little left to be done, is what I'm thinking.
At the last meeting, I do remember when I asked for three, you said, well, I'd like a progress report in 2.
Well, it's not down here
for...
for...
words, a progress report, but I don't see it showing up. And that's basically what I'm telling you is that my progress report is I have receipts for everything I purchased. I got thousands of dollars sitting there in the apartment ready to go in. I'm not dragging my feet. I'm not delaying or avoiding your order to get it done. It's just that conditions kept me from completing it
as far as I'm
in your
concerned,
time frame.
The penalty is that he can't rent it. So he's paying a financial... So if he wants 60 days, fine.
Make a motion.
Make a motion, Mr. Harrington.
I move that we grant Mr. Wyszynski another 60 days to come in to compliance and get his rental license.
So we're amending the previous order of
Right.
noncompliance and giving him 60 days to come into compliance. Mr. Harrington made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, Ms. Roby.
Okay, second, Ms. Roby. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Nay. We have one. Okay, the motion passes. You have 60 days to complete this work, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, case number 6, CEB 1018-120 BMS Holdings at 846 Madison, failure to obtain a rental license. Is that a Mr. Peck was here? Oh, Miss Peck, I'm sorry.
Melanie Peckham. And your address? 1019 Plymouth Avenue, Orlando. Oh, sorry. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Jackson.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for imposition of a fine. The inspector is Mark Jones. Mr. Jones reports that this respondent has had a failed inspection and they need to schedule re-inspection and wants them into the next cutoff. They're waiting on windows. So once that happens, he believes that they'll be able to come into compliance. So it's asking for this to be amended to the next cutoff. And I attend to Mr. Jones.
Okay, Mr. Jones, what's left to do?
All that's left is one bathroom window. They weren't able to repair it. I did re-inspect it on October 17th, and everything else passed but the window.
Okay.
They have already applied for a permit, and they're waiting for the window to come in.
Pretty straightforward.
The 15th is the date.
Go ahead.
Come on, Mike.
Come
Come
up
on,
to the
Mike.
mic.
The 15th is the date for the window to be installed.
Okay, good. Okay. The chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until December 5th, 2018 to come into compliance and be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day until compliance is achieved. Is there such a motion? Motion, Mrs. Himes. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. McLean. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Now, case number 7 is in compliance. Move on to case number 8, CEB 08-18-87. Donald Bernard from Altamont, right? Uh-huh. At 29 South Grandview.
State your name and address.
Don Bernard, 516 Little Wekiva Road, Altamont Springs, Florida, 32714.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Jackson.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for imposition of a fine. The inspector is Mike Fitzgerald. Mr. Fitzgerald reports that the respondent has been in constant contact with them, that he has made great progress. His primary situation right now is that he's waiting for stairs, and although he wasn't cited for stairs, the stairs is a kind of a necessary step in terms of the process of his completion of all of the work. And so Mr. Fitzgerald is asking that we amend to the next cutoff, and I would tend to Mr. Fitzgerald for any additional factual questions you may have.
Okay.
Are there any more current pictures than those?
Yeah, they're current pictures.
Okay, tell me what's
That's
been...
a current picture right there with the new fence, part of the fence going in. The fence is the only thing that's left to go in, and it's on hold until the stairs go in, which is something we didn't write in for. So, yeah.
So everything's finished out there, that rot...
Hold on. He'll put
yeah, show me...
You get to the concrete,
Keep going.
right there.
Yeah.
Has that tree been removed?
The new one where you have.
There.
What?
Is that tree still hanging over the roof there in the far left corner?
Yeah, that's going to come out when we put the stairs.
Okay.
All right, so that's,
Old picture.
yeah, okay. Okay.
That's a new picture.
All right, now,
That's a new picture.
okay, we gave Mr. Bernard 2 months to get this done, correct? And you were working on it. What's been done since the last time he was here?
Everything's been done
Except
for adding the
stairs.
fence. Because they're putting stairs there, that he's going to need access to the stairs. So he can't put the fence up until the stairs are in.
Okay.
And the stairs are being engineered by a...
So it's been painted,
Yes.
okay. Okay.
I'm waiting on drawings. So
Come on over this mic.
I'm just
All right,
waiting on
Mr.
drawings.
Bernard, when do you expect these stairs to be in?
As soon as I get the drawings, I get the permit. I'm told, I have to get plans, so for permitting.
But
And
you knew that 2 months ago.
not for the stairs.
Oh, not for the stairs, but
No.
the stairs aren't part of our violation.
No, when I met with Mike, when we went over all this, he said, well, we didn't know that you have to have stairs on a rear exit. Well, we didn't know that.
Two
We
exits.
thought that balcony, we just had to put the railings up
Okay.
and the spindles.
Because I thought the stairs were on the inside.
Wait a minute, come up here, please.
Right, so we just,
That came up because I thought the stairs were inside the house and he came out the bottom, but he said there are no stairs going down the back, and that's when we talked about that.
so once we realized that we had to get stairs outside from the back, that's when I went to
And
the
how about the
engineer.
fencing? What is that?
As soon as the
will be-
stairs are in, the fence will be redone.
Okay,
Yep, so.
And there's already 3 or 4 panels already up.
okay. Do you have the rest of the panels? Are they there, ready to go?
Yeah, we're making the panels.
So what is the estimate for when this can get done?
I mean, once I get a permit, I mean, I'm
Well,
thinking a
what
week
are
or-
we waiting for the permit?
Drawings.
From whom?
The engineer.
We think we could be done by January cutoff.
Okay. He wants 2 months.
Please.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, I'm expecting those drawings in any time, and they were supposed to be done by now. I asked that they would be done before this meeting, so I don't know what the holdup is with that. Just pretty basic stairs and actually a deck, so.
Any comments from the board or questions? Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until the January cutoff date, which is 1/2/19, to come into compliance, be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day until compliance is achieved. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Harrington. Second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Roby. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. 2 months.
Thank you.
All right, case number 9, CEB 10-18-129, Mr. Gadimi. Came the last time. Mr. Gadimi is here again. Please come forward. Good morning.
State your name and address, please.
Nasser Kadimi, 1117 Daytona Avenue, Honolulu.
Raise your hands. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to provide is the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Gadimi, we'll hear from Mr. Jackson and Mr. Fitzgerald first, and then we'll give you a chance to speak. Mr. Jackson.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for imposition of a fine. The inspector is Mike Fitzgerald. Mrs. Fitzgerald reports that this property has 5 rental units. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done. He's had constant contact. The respondent has been in constant contact with him on everything that he's doing and trying to do. He's reported that he's going over and above. The at the last meeting, was ordered to have the windows where they could open and shut within 10 days, and that was taken care of as ordered. So Mr. Fitzgerald is asking for the board to amend this to the next cutoff, with the belief that the respondent could be in compliance by next cutoff. Now, I would tender Mr. Fitzgerald for the additional factual questions you may have.
Okay, Mr. Fitzgerald, what needs to be done still?
Well, the windows are working, and he wants to go ahead and put new windows in the front of the building just for the visual. And so he's going to be pulling, we went down to permits and licensing, he's going to be pulling permits for the 4 windows in the front, and there are 2 windows that you can see from this side, and change them out to new windows, and then after that he can frame it out and then paint it and get it all done. Or he can just paint it and continue on with the windows they work, but they're old, very old.
You have a long list here. Are those things all eliminated?
He can tell you, but he's going to hire a contractor. They're going to be working on the property to fix all of the things that are on my list.
Going to hire a contractor?
Well, he's been calling around. I've been actually helping him with that, trying to talk to the contractors, and nobody wants to touch the asbestos part of it.
So it's very unlikely then it's going to get done.
They found a contractor, so he's working with him now. He's willing to work on the building.
What about this roof damage and causing electrical issue? That's
the electrical issues are on the side, outside of the building, and you're going to be hiring a contractor for that.
Let me ask you a question. You were notified in May of this year. First notified. Correct? No. So that's been how many months, Mr. Kadimi, that you were notified in May?
We did, and I tried to contact Mr. Fitzgerald, and there was a wrong number on the letter, so I couldn't. Anytime I tried.
So you have a BTR for this. A BR. A BT. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay. Are these units occupied?
Yes.
And how long have you owned that building?
Probably about 25, 30 years.
30 years.
And
you had your people living with rotted wood and damaged roofs?
It's the most of the what you call water really was the little fence in the front that it's already corrected. It just took off. It wasn't like a...
Well, the question for us is if we set a time, what is it we want? Obviously, it's not going to be in complete compliance. Can we... What can we ask to actually be done? Some proof that something's been done.
Well, I'm having an issue with this because I don't know what else has been done since the last time except the windows open and shut.
And he's removed the fencing?
Okay.
He's removed the fencing?
All right, let's go through it.
Okay.
Roof leaks still causing electric issues?
He's going to have a...
That's already was sealed. The roof is already sealed.
I'm asking Mr. Fitzgerald. The roof leaks causing electric issues still?
Yeah, he's going to need to get a roof contractor to state that.
Okay, I'm going through these one at a time.
Okay.
Damaged fences. The fence is down, so there's no longer a fence. Yes. So that's off the list.
That's off
because there's no peeling paint.
He's in the middle of repainting as we speak.
It still exists, right?
Yes, it still exists.
Peeling paint. Missing rotted or rusting materials.
They're still there. That's part of the contractor.
Damaged roofing and flashing. Failure, deteriorated or decayed holes, breaks, loose, missing, rotting materials.
Around the sash.
Those are around, yes. Sill sash, molding, lintel, frame, and trim.
Yep. That's all being done by the new windows.
Wood rot or missing pieces.
Again, it was around the windows. Yeah.
That's not done either. So instead of going through this one at a time, I'm going to ask the question again. Are the windows the only thing that have been done since the last time?
The windows were
ordered.
And the fence. And they were open and closed.
Yes,
and the fence.
And the fence. And that's it.
And the beginning of the painting.
That's the very beginning. Yeah.
Well, they're doing around the side, the whole... Yeah.
Are there pictures of what he's done on the other side? Okay. And I'd like to see a little more evidence of work being accomplished. What is your recommendation?
Well, he just found the contractor yesterday, so, I mean, I've got to give the contractor some time to get in there and do a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
But he hasn't contracted. He found one.
Well, he's been doing contractors. They've told him no, that they didn't want to do the work on the property.
Because of the condition and the asbestos, which is always an issue.
An issue, yes.
As well it should be.
Yeah, and he's kept in constant contact with me. So I know he's doing it.
For 30 years, I mean.
It's a tough.
It's cracked and loose, plaster decayed and damaged
Yes.
inside too.
Yeah.
And the tenants are going to live there while they're doing this repair?
Mostly out. Look, they are already living there.
There's
They've
one
been
unit
living
that
there.
has the damage, and he's not there right now.
There are no tenants there now.
The one tenant that I have the photographs where the deterioration on the inside from the roof leak is not there.
Was this a complaint driven?
From that tenant.
He's not there anymore.
Okay, well.
He's still there, but he's not in the building. He's not living there right now.
You know, I'm going to craft a motion, and you see what you'd like to do with this. The chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $150 per day against the respondent effective today, November 8th, 2018, and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches a maximum of $15,000. Is there such a motion? Motion, Mrs. Himes. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mrs. McLean. All in favor say aye.
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 Like sign opposed. Motion carries. All right, let's move on to case. No, the case we have decided what we're doing. The only thing I'm going to say is that I don't think enough effort has been made because of the condition of this building and because there are tenants in it. I don't see that you have a contractor. I'm trying to explain our decision to you. We're not going to change it.
I'm not asking for you to change. I'm just trying to explain. I've been in contact with Mr.
That's a good thing.
Through and
So that's true. Everything you say is true. Unfortunately, this board is
made their
independent.
decision, so just stay in contact with your inspector.
As soon as you get compliance, the fine stops.
Okay.
Next.
All right, next case, CEB 09-18-92, Bernard Martin. Mr. Martin here? No, yes, he is. Mr. Martin, just come forward and be sworn in, please.
State your name and address.
Bernard Martin, 135 University Boulevard, Daytona.
Do you solemnly swear, raise your hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we'll hear from Mr. Jackson and Mr. Alderman first.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for, let's see, continued. Okay, it's continued from the previous meeting for determination of a compliance statement.
Right. Okay.
And there is a running fine of $200 per day for failing
Not
to obtain
having
the necessary permits.
A permit. Okay.
The inspectors informed me that he had no contact, but he did get an update regarding permits, so I'll have to have him speak to that. That's something that was fresh, I think, just determined today. But otherwise, he's asking for a $200 a day fine to a maximum of $15,000. And I would attend to Mr. Alderman so that he can give some clarity on the factual information.
Okay, Mr. Alderman, please come up here. We have some questions. All right, it says today that we are here to determine a compliance date, and that we last time fined Mr. Martin $200 per day for failure to apply for necessary permits before 10/3. Have any permits been applied for?
Yes, but hold on for a moment.
Okay, go ahead.
For protocol.
Okay.
Madam Chair, members of the board, my name is Steve Alderman, neighborhood inspector for the City of Daytona Beach Police Department. Credentials are on file.
Okay, go ahead.
We're still doing that, right?
Yeah.
Could you slow up so I can write that down?
Yes.
Okay.
I checked this morning, and I have been in contact with Mr. Bernard, and actually he calls me fairly regularly, and I understand his problems with that he's been having with contractors, and I've actually had two phone calls from one that he has been in contact with. I checked this morning, permits and licensing does have this contractor, Mr. Barnes. He left a message one morning early, but he is on record with the building department as having applied for permit. It's under review at this point. And other than that, there's been no construction. Everything is secured and safe at this point. But as far as the technicalities of talking with the contractor, Mr. Bernard should probably expand on that one.
So really what we're doing right now is just determining a compliance date. Is that right, Mr. Jackson?
That's correct. And in fact, if I can, before you step away, Mr. Alderman, I guess we really need to determine the date that he applied for the permit.
Right.
This is a little bit different.
Right.
Doing these types of orders, then an application is the only thing we need at this point to comply. And so we want to stop the fine once he complied with the permit request. And then the only thing we have remaining would be to set a compliance date for the. So we're really not in a position to fine today, but you have to set the date for him to come into compliance, which I believe is we believe that can be done by next cutoff.
Well, yes, a good contractor can take care of it in 2 weeks max.
Okay.
From the records on the permit track, 11/7 was applied for and under review. I haven't had a chance to return the contractor's phone call yet, but still, I mean, I've talked to him before. We went over the violation notices and everything on that violation notice he has to deal with. So it's up to the contractor to get those photos, the drawings, and everything into the building department. They go through the reviews, and the day that they're done, he will have his permit.
Okay, so basically we're going to set a compliance date.
It's still dependent upon when. Well, yes, you're correct.
Okay, but will be dependent on when the contractor.
Correct. When it starts.
But he has hired a contractor.
You have hired him, correct? Yes. Okay. Yeah.
You have signed a contract. Okay. All right.
Well, 30 days is not reasonable.
No, probably not. Is 30 days reasonable, Mr. Alderman, to you, to get this work done? If he has the contractor and
It's reasonable, yes, but mainly I haven't had a chance to contact or talk to the contractor since he's applied for the permit, so I don't really have an idea of his
All right.
plan.
Is it realistic?
Yes.
30 days is realistic that this would be
I would think so, but I still would have Mr. Martin comment on that because he's had the most recent information.
Okay. All right. Let's hear from Mr. Martin. What would you like to tell us? You have a contractor. When did he say he could start?
Right. He told me that he had to do, I guess, architectural work, drawings. And that it could take 2 to 3 weeks to get a permit from the permit department before he could start. But it's a big firm that's well known. And that's about all I know.
Well, I think 60 days is a more reasonable. You're going into Thanksgiving holidays. You got this permitting to do. It's not going to happen in less than 30 days. realize it's been going on for months and months, but.
Right.
Well, that, again, because of that, I guess it was more or less my fault, but I live and learn type of situation where I didn't realize there's a difference between contractors and general contractors.
Yeah.
And it took a while to get somebody to, one, show up. You know, they all say they're going to come by, and then you sit there and you wait. But these guys have been around, him and his father have been around a long time, and they got a big operation there.
All right. So we're going to set a compliance date. The chair will entertain a motion to set a compliance date of 1/3/2018. There's such a motion. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong one. The wrong year. 1/2/2019.
So moved.
Motion from Mr. Harrington. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Roby. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And I'd like to apologize for running late today because I was 20 minutes late.
Okay. That's all right. You were fine. No problem.
But again, you know, it's, some people are full of self-importance, and I kind of got stuck up.
Okay. That's fine. Thank you. Case number CEB 10-18-136, Holly Hoffman. She wasn't here last time, not here this time. What can you tell us, Mr. Alderman?
Well, so far, I have had one contact with Miss Hoffman, and that was back on 8/7/18. That's when I was informed that she was planning on obtaining a contractor and getting a permit within 30 days.
Uh-huh.
Nothing has been done, and there's been no permit applied for. And I did a little homework, and I wanted to bring this forward to you for your edification. It was a permit that was applied for back on 6/17/16 for the very exact same thing that we are addressing today. Very nice drawing, but it was denied because they needed more information. Then it just went away. She could never follow through.
Okay.
But this is what it was supposed to look like, and it looks nothing like.
Right. Okay, good. Thank you for doing that.
And it is an engineered drawing.
Is this the one, they're impinging on the property
Yeah.
next door?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the one where I asked about the safety problems, which they altered some of the beams.
There are beams involved, and
Yeah, that's the one.
It was not engineered correctly whatsoever.
right, it wasn't this.
No.
Right. Okay.
What's the remedy for that? Do they have to go back and put those beams in?
Well, even to remove that, the existing structure that is put on there has eliminated the structural integrity of one of the forward boards that holds up the roof above it. So yes, she's going to have a problem. It's just been compounded by not getting it done correctly.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Jackson, what is the recommendation? Or Mr. Alderman?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, $200 a day, please.
Okay. Up to 10 because it's an individual. Okay. Okay.
And it's interesting that she lives there, but I've had to post everything.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $200 per day against the respondent effective today, November 8th, 2018, and continuous compliance is achieved and reaches a maximum of $10,000. Such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Ms. McLean. Second, Ms. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Thank you. All right. Now we're on to case number 12, CEB 0818-77 DB101 Corporation. Continued for a progress report and determination of a compliance state, the damaged seawall. Want to come forward and be, oh, you don't need to be sworn in, correct? Just state your name.
Good morning. My name
Hi.
is Darren Elkine, and my professional address is 505 Beltone.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Jackson.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, we're here for, let's see, our action is that we had continued this for progress report and determination of compliance date. I believe the last time we were here, we had looked at the circumstance regarding the closure, which was something that we had needed taken care of, and that was taken care of. And then we realized that there were, or at least discussed that there were additional things that were being done that would require a progress report and determination of compliance date. And speaking with staff, I've been informed that they are still working with the respondent as far as the whole plan, the development plan. We're asking that we continue with the progress report. We're asking that that progress report be in January. And at that time, hopefully we're a little bit more solid on exactly everything that's going to be done so that we can have a compliance date as well.
Okay, Mr. Reckenzone. Good morning.
Good morning, Cliff Reckenzone. My credentials on file.
What's been done since the last time we were here?
The property is secured.
It's secured. Now, let me ask you a question. Is that board considered, this unpainted wood board considered securing it?
Yes.
In your opinion?
It's what was keeping the transients from going underneath the concrete and sleeping underneath the concrete and keeping it safe. So that was the issue.
So it was just the safety that was the issue?
That was the safety.
It certainly isn't the appearance that was the issue. Is that correct?
That's why the case is still open, is because the wall is damaged, and it has to go through planning to be repaired.
Planning, what do you mean it has to go?
There's a project in the works to get, and part of the project is to build a new seawall.
What's the rest of the project, do you know?
No.
Is that a secret, or could we ask?
Excuse me? Okay, but, oh, well, come forward.
Swear, Mr. Moore. No, he's an attorney to be sworn in.
He doesn't have to be
Good morning,
sworn in.
board
Be sworn in.
Good morning.
I'm Jim Morris. I'm the deputy city manager, and the case here is one of the seawalls, you know, has been damaged, and it's been patched. It's been fixed in such a way as to prevent people from getting under the seawall. There's actually a part where people are kind of going down and living in a hole.
Right.
And it was a dangerous condition. That dangerous condition has been addressed. I went and made sure myself about a week and a half ago. Mr. Elkine represents the property owners who live in Uruguay, and there's been another lease agreement there. But regardless, from the city staff perspective, we're working with them on a planned development agreement that they need to file, which will permit an envelope of development on the property. So from the standpoint, Mr. Harrington, of what it will be permitted to be a restaurant use or a hotel use or even a parking lot use, although that's not a use that we necessarily favor or want to see on the property.
Is that a change in zoning?
It will be. And so in order to get that done, there's a PD agreement that has to be processed, and I've talked with Mr. Elkine extensively about the terms and provisions of the agreement. He happens to represent the same property owner owns another vacant piece on Ocean Avenue. And from the code board's perspective, this is not really related so much to code enforcement matters, but from the perspective of Ocean Avenue, I've been doing this work with the city for not quite 2 years. One of the things we've changed right away is to allow restaurants to go on Ocean Avenue, which previously they didn't. And when you look at Ocean Avenue and the Main Street corridor itself, it's an essential part of the area that needs to be redeveloped. And these two vacant properties need to be put in a position where someone would be able to redevelop them. So that what I'm working with Mr. Elkine and through Mr. Elkine with his clients to get PD agreements. I'm meeting the city to get PD agreements in place. When you look at the seawall reconstruction, if that's what would be required, and that's what would be required here ultimately to make the property sound, it's an old seawall. On the south end, there may not be pictures in your file, but to the left of that picture, there's actually palm logs. And they were palm logs, and they drove those in the ground, then they capped them and poured concrete, and I don't know how old that is, but by today's standards, the DEP actually makes you build a seawall that's rated for a 100-year storm, which is very substantial and expensive construction. Also, you probably know you can't build on the beach during turtle season, which just recently has ended. And in order to rebuild the seawall, you have to have PED permits, which takes probably a year to get. And then finally, when you add to it, there's no requirement to have a seawall. You could actually demolish the front end of it, but no one would do that really because it destroys the integrity of the property. So that's the dilemma that they find themselves in with this property, and they've secured it, and from the perspective, my perspective at least, to have a development agreement that puts in place the potential of redeveloping the property, putting the proper seawall in, and having the property have true utility versus being a vacant lot, which is what it is now. That's the overall objective, and they've made it sound and secure. And so I've spoken with the co-staff about it. Mr. Reckenzone didn't have the advantage of having a one-on-one with me prior to trying to answer your questions, which is why I offered to try to answer your questions.
Okay, thank you. The question I have is that I really, any of this PD discussion is really almost immaterial to the code violations.
Understood. So I can go back to that part of it, but I think your staff would probably rather speak to you on that aspect of
right.
it.
Okay.
And I think giving us a chance to work through the PD gives us a chance to also give you a better address of the code violations.
One of my problems with this is that this could be a matter of, you said, even getting permits for a year, 2 years, whenever. One of my problems is that it looks the way it does,
sure.
The appearance of it.
So let's speak about that for just a minute. So
okay.
I know from the conversations I've had with Mr. Elkine, I know the police department as well have needed some no trespass orders, which he's provided them the authority for that. And the appearance, in one respect, I think, could be improved if simply the plywood was painted.
Absolutely.
And it was better to give at least a consistent appearance. I'll let Mr. Elkine speak to that, if that is your question.
That's my question.
But I'm guessing that that's well within reason.
Okay. All right. Mr. Elkine, good morning.
Good morning. I was thinking, as soon as I sat in this chair and saw the picture, I thought that it would be painted white.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people that go buy that property. It's important property. It's going to be an important property. It's going to take a while to go through the PD process for you to get permits. And I'm just wondering if there would be something that we could do, including painting that. Without going down and looking at it, I'm looking at this, and it's all broken. And is there something else we could do to improve the appearance? Is my question. And
yes, ma'am. As I said last time, if I had to get out there by myself, by the deadline, clothes would be done. And
we appreciate that it's not a danger to anyone anymore. But
painting it is an easy thing to do. Mm-hmm. And so I can speak on behalf of the client. They'll have no problem. They'll just have to find somebody to do it, but they will have no problem authorizing somebody to paint it white. And then I know we've got a stencil over it for it. Maybe we can coordinate on that for the no trespass.
Or a sign or whatever. Yeah.
But that'll be no problem anyway.
Do we have any other pictures that you could show us? I'm just looking for other pictures. I see this one part. I want to look at the rest of it. Yeah.
That's prior.
That's old. So that's where the board is now?
It's there, but if you're able to pan, so you see the yellow
and
the palm trees, and if you look, it's very difficult to see, but you can see it's sort of a brown tone under that white lip.
Yeah.
Those are the old palm logs, and actually the sand comes up to that. There's a little dune in that area.
Right.
There, so you don't have a breach where someone could get under or anything in that portion.
Right.
As you go to the right, which in the picture is to the north, that's where you see, that's the corner. And
that's what that corner looks like now.
That's what it
today.
looks like now. And that's why Mr. Elkine offered to paint it, and Ms. Kuhn, I know that's what you were asking.
It is. It is. I mean, if the process were going to be done tomorrow, but it isn't. It's going to be a while.
The zoning process won't be.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet Darren gets his paintbrush and paints it pretty quickly.
Okay.
Anyhow, if that's helpful to you.
Yeah, it is.
So we're trying to link the two things together and get something done, which is a much better and bigger outcome than just fixing it.
Okay.
Thank you.
The paint would be good.
So we're looking for a progress report.
Progress report. Mr. Harrington, do you have something you want to talk about?
No.
Okay. Do we need to make a January if we're just going to be fixing this up, a progress report, or?
Well, this we'll be able to see if it's painted or not.
Well, we can see that in December.
Yeah. The holidays.
Yeah. December? All right, Chair will entertain a motion for another progress report due, let me get the right calendar, 12/5/18. There's such a motion?
So moved.
Okay, motion, Mrs. Himes, second. Mr. Harrington? Okay.
And Madam Chair, can I get one clarification
Go ahead.
on it? Is it a progress report in the sense where he can report, since he's coming from the attorney to the inspector, or something in writing, or is it?
Well, a picture would be good if it was painted, and I think that would satisfy a picture.
The permitting process itself is probably going to be a lot more further down the road than that.
Okay.
So the main thing would be really just.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that'll work.
All right, so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Because are we going to continue then? I know. Go ahead.
Clarify, I think you gave the cutoff date, not the meeting date.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yes,
not the
that was
meeting
a
date.
cutoff date. Meeting
I'll just
date.
put out the meeting date.
We'll do the meeting date, 12/13. Okay, progress report to 12/13. Are we going to have to continue a progress report until the whole project is done and the seawall is finished? Is that really what? I mean, I'm just asking. I just want to be prepared. And
I'm trying to.
Yeah, go ahead while they're talking about it. Yeah.
It doesn't matter, but I serve as a special magistrate elsewhere. I understand this process, and I've been doing it for close to a quarter of a century now. And I've got a client who's authorized me to go, do the legal part of the rezoning process. So I have no question that they will do it. They have the resources to do it, I believe. I think there's some benefit if I don't have to drive every couple of months and we don't do too often progress reports. I think there's a benefit, even with me, to have it out there. So I think that's
as long as the property is in repair and we're going to wait and you're going to need all these permits, I don't see a point of having you come back every month. But we do need to see that everything's moving forward.
Right.
So that would be
I think on my side it's helpful to have it hanging out there. So let's keep doing that.
Okay. Okay. All right. Great.
If I don't come visit you,
Okay. Fine. Thank you very much.
Can I be excused then?
Yes, you're excused. All right. Is that everybody satisfied with that? Did we vote? We did. Okay. Case number 13, CEB 08-18-74, Pelicano Crusher. This was here for a progress report, right?
No, it is that. I have progress report, right.
Continue from the 9/13 meeting for progress report. Oh, compliance date set for
next month.
12/5. So what are we doing with this case? Progress report today, correct? No? Yeah. Okay, progress report. Thank you.
Yes, Madam Chair, I presume we're talking about the 1169 Indian Lake Road?
Correct.
Okay, that's for a progress report, and Mr. Reckenzone is the inspector. He has some update, and he prepared to discuss it with us.
Okay, Mr. Reckenzone?
Their project has been approved, and they should have the BT by next month,
Great.
next cutoff.
Fine, thank you very much. Great.
So we can set a compliance date for next cutoff.
It's already set.
already set.
We already set it, so we're all good. All right, case number 14, CEB 10-18-135, Stephen Suzanne Kaplan. Have not shown up last time, been no contact. What can you tell us?
Okay, Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for imposition of a fine. The inspector is Cliff Reckenzone. Mr. Reckenzone reports that this property remains in non-compliance, that the still needs a roof contractor. They just hadn't gotten it done. And Mr. Reckenzone is requesting, it's been since August of 2018, he's requesting a $100 a day fine for a maximum of $10,000. Maximum of $10,000. And I would tender Mr. Reckenzone for any actual questions here.
I only have one question. Have they made any contact with you or done nothing?
Not since before the last hearing.
Okay. Any questions for anybody? All right, the chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $100 per day against the respondent effective today, November 8th, 2018, and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches the maximum of $10,000. Such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mrs. Himes. Do I have a second? Second, Ms. McLean. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Case number 15. CEB 10-18-137, 769 Greenway Realty. Anyone here for that? They weren't here last time either. Okay.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for imposition of a fine. The inspector is Cliff Reckenzone. Mr. Reckenzone reports that the respondent has done everything except obtain the rental license. They still need that. They had an inspection. They failed the inspection for minor matters that will be or can easily be resolved. So we're asking that we amend to the next cutoff for them to come into compliance. And I tend to Mr. Reckenzone.
Okay, Mr. Reckenzone, what do they still need to do?
They didn't pass the rental license with the rental inspector.
Mm-hmm.
The rental inspector told me there was just minor things that they needed to prepare, and they haven't set up a re-inspection for the new inspection.
They haven't?
Not as of yesterday.
When did they fail the other one? Do we know?
It was about 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. And they haven't fixed the roof? The outside fixed or insect screens?
Yes, the insect screens were replaced. The
Okay.
outside repair to the roof was repaired. The grass was cut, and
Do they have a business tax receipt?
that's part of the business license, the rental license.
Okay. So
they paid their
your
fees.
recommendation is to give them another month?
Right, just in 1 month because they had the inspection done right before the cutoff date, and just the time to do repairs that weren't even in the notice.
Is there anybody living in the building?
2 tenants.
So they do have tenants. But the roof is done and the screens are in?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'd be willing to give them another month.
Make a motion that we extend to the next cutoff.
All right, Mrs. Himes has made a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance, allow respondent until the next cutoff date, which is 12/5/18, to come into compliance. We return to a subsequent meeting of consideration of a fine up to $1,000 per day. Such motion?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Why should they not have a business tax receipt since they have tenants, regardless of whether...
Because they do have tenants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They paid their fee.
Okay.
They paid the fees, but they don't get the actual license.
Okay.
And the business tax is part of the license now.
Right. Okay.
So they paid their fees, they paid the business tax fees. They're just waiting for the license to...
Okay, that would be useful if you would indicate that the fees have been paid.
Yeah.
Because what it appears from this is that they've been just
Right. Yeah,
running.
and I wasn't aware that what the relationship of one to the other was either, so that's good to know.
They've merged the business tax
Okay.
license with the rental
Good
license.
to know.
And they have to pay the fees before the inspection is done.
Okay. All right, so Mrs. Himes made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Harrington. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. All right, we'll move on to our new cases.
I'm going to take a break.
Yeah, Mr. Harrington's taking a break. We have 1, 2, 3, continue. Okay, we still have a quorum, so we'll still continue. All right, new cases. CEB number 16, CEB 11-18-141, Fabian Lorenz at 113 North Hollywood. Mr. Lorenz here? No. Okay.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or non-compliance. The inspector is Cliff Reckenzone. Mr. Reckenzone reports that the property remains in non-compliance. It's being handled by a management company. He's had no entry yet into the property, so he doesn't know the extent, but they do remain in non-compliance, and he's asking for next cutoff on them to come into compliance.
Okay.
Attend to Mr. Reckenzone.
Yes, Hollywood. All right, so they have they're just not doing what they need to do. Is this property occupied?
Yes, it has one tenant. They did everything that I've requested from the exterior. I'm just waiting for a run license paperwork to be processed,
Okay.
and so we can have an interior look at the property.
Okay. All right. So, Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in non-compliance and or respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, 12/5/2018, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Such a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Mrs. Himes. Second, Mrs. Roby. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Case number 17, CEB 11-18-150, Paxson LLC at 121 Lockhart. Please come forward. Good morning. You just state your name and address for the record and be sworn in.
Lee Johnson, home address is 8520 Garden Way Road, Groveland, Florida, 34736.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll hear from Mr. Jackson and from Mr. Reckenzone.
Well, Madam Chair, if I can ask what Mr. Johnson's relationship is to
Yes,
Paxson
good
LLC.
question. Sorry, I forgot.
I am part owner in
Okay.
Paxton LLC.
Okay.
And managing.
Okay.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or non-compliance. The inspector is Cliff Reckenzone. Mr. Reckenzone reports that this property remains in non-compliance. He's had contact with presumably Mr. Johnson, but he's had contact with these are new owners, and he's asking that the property be brought into compliance by next cutoff. And I tend to Mr. Reckenzone.
Okay, what needs to be done, Mr. Reckenzone? All these things.
The only thing that has been done is they removed the damaged shed that was in the backyard, and they've cut the grass.
Okay.
And put those numbers aside.
Okay. Is this a single-family home?
Yes.
Rental property?
It's a single family, it's a
Rental.
rental house.
But nobody's renting it yet, or, okay. All right, okay. Mr. Johnson, what would you like to tell us? Looks like there's some work to do there.
Well, first of all, we are no longer the owner of the property. One of the other owners is here, but I would like to address it from our involvement in the situation.
Explain to me, what do you mean by you're not the owners of the property anymore? Did you sell it to somebody else?
We sold it. We closed on it October 29th.
So we're going to need to add another person to this complaint? It can't just be Paxson?
He is here.
Yes, okay. Why don't we hear from this other person, since you're not the owner anymore, but you're still on, okay, go ahead.
All right.
Because you're still going to, I guess you're still on this complaint. All right, Mr. Jackson, I'm confused.
Are you responsible for, was that part of your agreement, you would fix these things?
No.
Okay, so you're not.
What connection do you have to the property at all?
At this point, none.
Then there's nothing you can
But
say.
Can I ask when it was sold?
Yeah.
it was sold, we closed on October 29th.
Okay, we're going to need to hear from the other person
Well,
first, I think. I don't know. What?
Have we given, who'd you sell it to?
No, let's let the lawyers talk about this for a minute.
Yeah, I think our preference would be to just go ahead and withdraw it and start with
Okay.
the proper owner, the new owner.
Okay.
I think we're early enough in the game there. I don't think that we, and whatever the basis for this.
So you're going to withdraw it, and file a new case?
Business. I'm
So
sorry.
withdraw it tonight and file a new case?
Yes, that's
We'll
my
see next month.
recommendation. That's what
Okay, you're out of the picture.
I would like to address the board.
On what?
Well, what has taken place with this whole situation?
Okay, well, you're not the owner of the property.
You're not the owner anymore,
No, but I'm
so
the one
they
who's
really.
gone through this for the last year and a half. We invested.
Right now, we have no case.
Right.
We've just withdrawn the case.
We have withdrawn the case.
Well,
There's no case.
I think you all, as a board, need to hear what I have to say. I've traveled over here from Lake County. We're investors. We invest in 9 different counties in this area. This is our first investment in this county.
How long have you owned the building?
We closed on it end of August last year.
Okay.
But when I did my due diligence before, this was a tax deed property. This is a property that's been in your system since 2012.
No, it's not our system, it's the county's.
Well,
okay.
If I may, I'm
Go
sorry,
ahead.
I don't want to interrupt you. I just want to clarify something. The inspectors informed me that their desire is not to dismiss. So I want to make sure I make that clear before whatever statement.
Just want to add the new party.
It doesn't have any indication that it's in response to what he's saying.
And then what you say, the new party?
Yeah, we're just going to.
Okay.
Oh, so we're not withdrawing the case.
Yeah, the staff desires that.
Okay, then it's still open.
Okay, the case is still open. Go ahead.
Okay. As part of my due diligence, I knew that it had a lien on it. This is going through the tax deed system. I spoke with Mr. Racanzone prior to the deed auction and inquired how would they handle the liens. A lot of municipalities will work with you on the outstanding lien amounts. He informed me that they would. They generally would knock it down to about 10% of the lien amount, not guaranteed. I attended your July 2017 meeting, and I saw, in fact, that's what was happening. After the meeting concluded, I went over and had a sidebar with Mr. Racanzone and some other code officials, and I explained to them that our intention was not to rehab this property, was to clean it up and turn it into its highest and best use, get it on the market, clean up the title as well. What would you expect us to do? And he said, you need to take care of the code issues, understandable. And there was a branch that was on the roof, was not listed in the code issues. That needed to be removed. And being that we weren't going to fix it up for rehab, he asked that it had to be secured. He did not want us to put up boards on the outside, make it look like an abandoned property. So we went in after we purchased it, and we put boards up on the inside. We set up a no trespass agreement with the Ocala or the Daytona Police Department. We cleaned up the property, we removed abandoned vehicles, we cut the grass. We did everything that we were under the impression needed to be done. We held on. We then met with officials with the redevelopment board. In fact, Reed Berger, Mr. Bryan, who's here today. What would they like to see happen with this property? Their intention was to see it become a productive parcel within Daytona Beach. Well, its highest and best use is apartments. It is zoned RDM4 for 40 units to the acre. And figuring that Bethune-Cookman, especially with the nursing school being adjacent to this property, there might be a need for the apartments. So we hired a local young man to maintain the grass. He did for many, many months and then just kind of disappeared on us one day. We were notified by, are you Ms. Collins? Okay, by Ms. Collins, and we had it addressed within 48 hours. She also gave us a wonderful recommendation for somebody that could assist us moving forward with the lawn maintenance. Well, we were coming up on 1 year of ownership, so that's generally our cutoff point. We were working to get it on the market. I contacted Mr. Racanzone about what was our next step to be able to go through and have the lien reduced. He explained to me that we would have to have this re-inspected, understandable, which most municipalities do, and that I would need to start the process through Ms. Barnes. So I put my call through to Ms. Barnes. She was going to email me, I'm sure you remember this conversation, she was going to email me the form to complete, and I never got the form. I then contacted her 4 different times, left voicemail messages, and didn't get any response. So finally, on the 5th call, I did speak with Ms. Barnes, and she explained to me that the property had failed inspection. Couldn't tell me why, couldn't tell me who the inspector was, but that it had failed. I had then attempted to get a hold of Mr. Recanzone. He was out of office for a period of time. Wasn't due back until, I think, September the 4th. So I spoke to a Mr. Garcia. He really wasn't that familiar with it, but he had me contact Mr. Stinson. Mr. Stinson and I had a conversation, and he said, well, it looks like that property just really needs to be demolished. You're not wanting to fix it up to turn it into a rental property. It needs to be demolished. So we then contacted a few demo companies and got quotes back from them. And those quotes were more money than what we could put into the property. We'd be losing money on the property. So I then contacted Mr. Recanzone again when he returned, and he said, well, if I'll give you more time on demoing the property. And I explained to him that was not an option for us. I wanted to...
All right, okay, I think we're getting... I understand that you have business concerns about this property. Our concern on the board is to address code violations.
Right.
We cannot be, I'm sorry to tell you this, but it is not something we do to tell you how to do your business, correct your business. We are looking at the code violations.
Can you answer me this?
I don't know.
Because I have photographs taken from your 2012 code liens. I have photographs taken prior to the tax deed auction. These issues have been on this property since 2012. Had we been told, well, this is what you're going to need to do to the property, we would have never bought it.
Well, again, what is before us are code violations, and that is what we rule on, and we're pretty strict about that's all we rule on. If the code violations are fixed, then you get to have a lien review. You don't get to have a lien review until your code violations are fixed. That's what we're ruling on. We are not ruling on anything else. Nothing else is in our purview. And you don't own the property anymore, so I really would like to hear from the person that owns the property. And in fact, we're just here for compliance or non-compliance. And from looking at the pictures, it doesn't seem that that the property is in compliance.
The issue, wait a second, we're going way off.
Okay.
Right now, we've been told that there's a new owner.
Right.
They have to follow. They have to go ahead and leave the case open.
Right.
Go ahead and include the new owner.
Right.
That's fine. We cannot discuss the case today because new owner has the right to be served, the right to be prepared for this meeting.
Right.
He hasn't been served at this point. So that's the next step. What's happened in the past, unfortunately, we have no control over that. So,
I was told I could appeal code enforcement's decision to the assistant city manager.
Yes, you can.
I contacted him. I'm still waiting.
Well, I think if the assistant city manager, I think you get to appeal it to the to another body, to the commission, not to.
You don't have, but you don't own the property anymore.
You don't own the property.
Well, this was prior to our selling the property.
Well, but you sold it, so you have no choice. You have nothing. You have no more. You sold it, so these people be responsible.
Well, that's Sandy. If indeed he's ultimately penalized, he'll have standing, and we'll see if there's ultimate penalties. At this stage, where we are is that we ask for zoning compliance. That's you or
both
initiated
right.
with you, or the current
That's
owner,
it.
or both of you jointly. But someone's going to have to bring the property into compliance, and after it's brought into compliance, you can take whatever anyone can do whatever they desire to do. If it's not brought into compliance, pursuant to Chapter 162, we'll be coming back asking for a fine, and that will be imposed against everyone that's a part of this case, which will be you as well as the new owner.
So I
won't be opposed against him.
It won't be against him.
I'm sorry?
He's not the owner anymore.
He's not the
It's
owner.
affirmative action.
Yeah.
Imposed on the land, not on the individual.
I still think we need to withdraw the case and start over.
Well,
They can have a third new party.
Or
This
just
one's
add,
open up.
why are we adding?
Mr. Cena, I'm sorry if I can get here, please. Mr. Cena, I kind of disagree with you a little bit there. If he remains on a case as part of this style,
right,
then the fine would be imposed against both he as well as the other.
So you're not going to remove him from the case?
Not right. We're not going to remove him from the case.
Okay, I understand.
And so, so he would have standing as it relates
Yes,
to the issues
okay.
of
I thought you were going to
penalty
just go ahead and add a new
if it's
person and take him off.
Right. No, we
Okay, because I didn't understand.
Yeah.
All right, so, all right, Chair will entertain a motion to find the respondent in noncompliance. In order the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day, and also requests that the new owner be enjoined in this violation, added to this new violation. Motion from Mrs. Himes. Is there a second?
I would like a little more clarification to this mumbo jumbo here.
What I think he's saying, Neil, is that they're adding the new owner, which is this gentleman right there, which they have to do because he's the owner. They're not taking this gentleman off the property at this point.
Okay, so we would have a motion. First motion would be to add the new owner.
Right.
Then, okay,
Then
correct.
impose the fine.
All right, so yes,
There's no fine.
There's no fine. It's just
Okay.
compliance or non-compliance.
All right.
So we're adding a new owner and finding the property in non-compliance.
And I would like to ask the new owner a question before, as a motion here.
Okay.
Well, again, as
right.
Mr. Sino's position, I agree with that position, that he has the right of due process.
Yeah, you can't ask. We have to continue this case.
We're putting him on a case.
Well, we haven't yet.
He hasn't
That's-
been notified.
He has to be notified formally.
Okay, so that's.
He has to be notified, then we can.
I mean, if he wants to talk or not.
This is very confusing because we're finding the property in non-compliance, and then we're doing something like, I
That's
understand.
the part he's right. We should be making the finding of compliance and non-compliance if we're.
Exactly, that's right, he's not here.
Yeah.
Just say, the only thing we should do at this point is add the new party, nothing else.
Okay, that's all we're going to do
We're going
then.
to do that. Because he has an opportunity to be able to defend himself, and he can't do that today. Just add it.
Okay.
Motion to add the new party.
All right, the chair will entertain a motion to, go ahead, Mrs. Himes,
To add the new owner at this time.
to add the new owner to the complaint.
Move it to the next meeting.
And move, and continue it
Good.
to the next meeting, which is on 12/13/2018. Right, continue the case till 12/18. That's it.
I'm sorry. I guess one of the things we need to do is make inquiry of the former owner, the name of the new owner, which I think we're obtaining.
Yeah, we are.
But if we can do that just for the record.
Okay,
And
we
that-
are obtaining
and I think
the
he's
name of the
represented
new
with Sol,
owner.
and he's given us a sale date.
Okay.
So that the records.
Okay. Motion with, Mrs. Himes made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Harrington. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. So we'll see what happens. We'll get this.
We didn't find anybody in non-compliance at all.
Right. No, there was nothing done today. Next time, we'll determine compliance or
You'll be able to
non-compliance.
say whatever you want at that point. No.
It probably won't do any good because we're going to have to do it all over again next time because you're not on the notice yet. So you haven't been notified. So, okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Case number 18, CEB 11-18-153, Ollie Mae Kenman. Good morning. Hi, state your name and address for the record, please.
Edith Jones, 1513 Eleanor Street.
Jones. Ms. Jones, what is your relationship to Ollie Mae?
She's my deceased daughter.
Daughter, okay.
Did you write Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to hear from our attorney, code attorney, and where are we here? And Ms. Collins, and then we'll let you talk.
Madam Chair, members of the board, we're here for a determination of compliance or non-compliance. The inspector is Barbara Collins. Ms. Collins report that the property remains in non-compliance. That's for vehicles being parked in the yard, unlicensed vehicles. And she's asking that you give the respondent until the next cutoff to come into compliance.
Okay.
Now with attendant Ms. Collins.
Okay.
Yes, actually the parking in the front lawn is not there, and there's one vehicle that needs to be removed, and she's going to have that done by the next cutoff.
Good.
I've spoken
Okay.
with her.
All right, Ms. Jones, do you need to say anything more? We're going to give you till next month to get this done. Is that okay? All right, fine. The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance or respondent come into compliance by the next cutoff date 12/5/2018 or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Such motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mrs. Himes, second. Mrs. Roby, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed. Okay. So you're good. You'll have till next month, okay? All right, case 20 is in compliance. No, case 19 is in compliance. Case 20, CEB 11-18-145, Jason Balkett. I think we're just going to power through this until the end because we only have a few more cases.
State your name and address, please.
Jason Balkett, 1031 Bel Air Drive, Daytona Beach.
Okay.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Jackson.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or non-compliance. The inspector is Steve Alderman. Mr. Alderman reports that the property is in non-compliance. There's an unsecured pool due to vent damage. And so had a couple issues. One of them was that Mr. Alderman wanted the respondent to immediately put temporary barrier around the pool until he's able to get his permitting and put the necessary fencing around the pool. And that appears to already be done, so just would like whatever order you give to include maintaining that temporary barrier until the...
So the temporary barrier is up.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And so other than that...
What is the temporary barrier, Mr. Alderman?
Speak to that.
What is that? Is that orange stuff?
Yes. Excuse me. That's the OSHA improvement, usually, or OSHA approved perimeter barrier.
It is, okay.
And the reason that this is here, even for that necessity, was because of the issue between a fence that was removed, that was on the adjoining property. They decided to remove the fence instead of repair the fence, which left him in huge liability. Okay. So that's why that fence.
Okay. Okay. So, Mr. Balkett, what would you like to say?
I've already contacted several fence companies to give me quotes. I've had AAA fence come in. Mm-hmm. They provided a quote, and I want to get at least 2 more just to vet a reasonable amount.
Okay.
Between the holiday coming up, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, my travel schedule for work, which is about 50% of the time, I'd at least like just an extension of about 90 days with a goal of ASAP to have a vinyl fence put up in between.
And you agree to maintain that fence safe?
You
agree to maintain the fence?
Yes.
Until, no matter how much days we give you?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Do you live there?
I do.
Do you have children, pets?
No, I don't. I have pets. Anytime I have them outside.
This is OSHA approved, that orange fence is OSHA.
Temporary fence.
Temporary fence is OSHA approved.
I would say it's approved for the perimeter barrier of construction sites. I've not seen pool in that. definition, but it's the best we've had. It has been used prior in other cases. When the screen rooms were removed, that perimeter barrier fence was applied, at least for a barrier, but not just, it's definitely temporary.
Could we request that they put more fencing up on the front so you'd see the orange from the front, but it would deter people from going back to his back pool area?
Well, he has his fence in place. It's vinyl. The rest of the fence that has been removed belongs to the adjoining property that...
So he can't do that.
So he's stuck with that.
Well, except that it's his responsibility to fence his pool off. Whether the owner, the other property takes down their fence or not. And that's what you're working on.
Correct, which was just done a few minutes ago.
Okay.
What we could do is we phrase the motion, that's how much time we give him, that temporary fence remain in operation. However, we need to expect, if for some reason it is, to bring it back the case sooner. Let's not wait the 90 days, whatever the measure you give.
Well, yeah, I'm not
No,
getting
my intent
90.
is not to wait till the very end of the 90 days. It's just
nevertheless, would probably...
So I don't have to come back
in
in.
good faith may need 2 months to get it done. The next week we have a problem with our fence.
Yeah.
Temporary fence. We can't wait.
Right.
We don't have the ability to wait in those kind of situations.
Right.
It's too serious.
No, absolutely.
Can I ask something else? Are you the only one that occupies the home, or is there someone else occupying?
It's myself and a friend of mine.
Okay, so when you're gone, is it vacant or?
No, she's there.
Well, obviously the property is in non-compliance because the pool is unsecured. So I have a problem, even if you maintain this orange fencing, with not having a better barrier than that. But I guess.
Well, can't the fencing go on whether you're there or not? You have somebody else.
Yeah.
It's my expense. It's my responsibility. To
Correct.
Make sure that it's done
Correct.
correctly. In the way
And well, that's because you.
So I need to be there for that.
Well, then, and I would think that would be a priority because
It
it's
is.
okay.
That's why I've already gotten. That's why I've already received one quote. I'm getting another one tomorrow.
And then you're going to need a permit. Is that right,
That
Mr.
company should
Alderman?
pull the permit
Okay.
for the job.
Will they need drawings as well and all that?
No, it's a replacement of an...
So it's a replacement. So okay.
Would you consider 2 months and let me check on it within one?
Sure.
Yes, I would.
You can always come back and give him more time if you have to. 2 months is more reasonable.
All right. Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in non-compliance in order to respond come into compliance by
The 5th of December? No.
it's
October.
January by January 2nd, 2019, and request a progress report from Mr. Alderman to make sure that the temporary barrier is still in place next month. Okay, is there such a motion?
I'll motion.
Okay, Ms. Foley, motion, Mrs. Himes second, all in favor say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed, motion carries.
Just for Ms. Roby and Ms. McLean's knowledge, it's kind of a different situation with dealing with pools because we can't give people long periods of time to get the fence up. It's got to be done immediately.
Well, kids
people
can walk right through that.
Yeah, people can get killed. Yeah. So we kind of take it very, very seriously.
Well, we're taking it serious. We just decided what to do. I had second thoughts about it anyway but if that's OSHA approved, OSHA needs some work. Yeah. All right. Case number 21, CEB 11-18-147, Track 3 LLC at 530 Seabreeze. Good morning.
State your name and address, please. R-E-F-I-E? Rafi. Okay. Opposite. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to provide is the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay, we'll let you speak in a minute, sir.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or non-compliance. The inspector, Steve Alderman. Mr. Alderman reports that the property remains in non-compliance. To his knowledge, nothing's happened yet, but he believes it can be in compliance by next cutoff.
Okay.
Tender Mr. Alderman.
I don't have any question. It seems pretty straightforward at this point. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. What would you like to tell us?
Okay, we try a lot to find someone to fix this. But before 2 days, we find someone and we have proposal and go, and we will start working.
Oh, good. Wonderful. Thank you very much for doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see that, but yeah, so you're well on your way. So if it gets finished, you stay in touch with Mr. Alderman, and if it gets finished, whenever it's finished and he needs, then
Just give me time.
yes. So, I mean, well, I think the next cutoff is just fine, okay? All right, Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance and the respondent come into compliance by the next cutoff date, 12/5/2018, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Harrington, second, Mrs. Himes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Thank you very much, sir. All right. We're on the last page here. Case 22, CEB 11-18-148, Nimrod Trimble Green and Isabella Green. Anyone here? Aha. No? No. Okay, so this will be simple, okay.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is here before you for determination of compliance or non-compliance. The inspector, Steve Alderman. Mr. Alderman reports the property is in non-compliance. He's requesting next cutoff for the property to be brought into compliance.
So the only thing on these violations are structural maintenance, but that looks like it could be a big issue, structural maintenance, right?
No.
No?
Actually, the property, I was in verbal contact with the owner, 11/5.
Okay.
He, prior to that, had the entire structure pressure washed. And that building was actually one of the original ones, 1926, I believe it is. Once all the bad stucco and paint was removed, I was over there on the 5th, and there's just minimal repairs that they need to do on stucco and a couple of cracks before they can actually apply the paint. But they're well on their way, and they should be starting on the 12th after all the stucco is dry and all the repairs are done. That's when they're going to start the paint. Should be
okay, I guess I was just looking at those beams or whatever they are coming out, those buttresses.
I did too, but actually those beams are slightly twisted, but they're in good condition, and they are going to sand them and stain them as well.
Okay. All right, pretty straightforward. Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance or respondent come into compliance by the next cutoff date, 12/5/2018, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such an order? Such a motion? Motion, Mrs. Himes. Second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Harrington. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed. Case number 23, CEB 11-18-149, Jerry Albro at 209 Woodland. No. Okay.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or non-compliance. Inspector Steve Alderman. Mr. Alderman reports the property is in non-compliance. He's asking for next cutoff for the property to be brought into compliance. I tend to Mr. Alderman.
Okay.
Last one.
One more after that.
Okay.
Oh, God.
I've inspected this place 8 times, including on 11/7. I tell you, I know somebody's living in it. I can't find them, haven't seen them, can't catch them, but the shoes changed by the front door, or actually the side door. The rest of them are all boarded up. But I know someone is there. I know Barbara is also maintaining the property. We are, as a city, maintaining the property. Non-compliance next cutoff, and I expect nothing.
No, so you haven't heard from this person?
I posted it every time, and it.
But you think someone's there, so this could be rental property, or it could be.
It's all speculation.
Yeah, all speculation at this point.
I
Okay.
do know that my postings, I've posted it every time.
Good.
They've all been removed, and the shoes
Thank
changed
you.
location.
Good,
That's all I can
terrific.
say.
Chairman will entertain a motion to find respondent non-compliance or respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, 12/5/2018, or be returned to the board for consideration for a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Such a motion?
So moved.
Mrs. McLean made the motion, Ms. Himes second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Last case, CEB 11-18-152, Joseph and Nancy Salium. Anyone? Good morning. Please state your name and address for the record.
Joseph P. Salium, 437 Manhattan Avenue.
What's your address, sir?
437 Manhattan Avenue.
Oh, okay.
Raise your hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, we will let Mr. Jackson and Mr. Alderman talk first, and then we'll give you a chance to tell us.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or non-compliance. The Inspector Steve Alderman. Mr. Alderman reports that he's been by the property as recent as this morning. They have started. He started some work in terms of at least maintenance of the yard. However, it's still in non-compliance, and he's asking that. Mr. Alderman is asking that this be brought into compliance by next cutoff, and I will attend to Mr. Alderman.
Okay, Mr. Alderman.
Yes, I just recently been in contact with Joseph, Mr. Sullivan, okay, and he has some other work to do. The yard is in the front; it's better. The parking is still an issue, but at least a lot of the trash debris and the fence on the east side of the property is in compliance at this point.
The cars are still parked on the grass?
Yes. I tried to get the this morning's photos on, but I didn't quite make it.
Okay.
So how many cars are on the?
Yeah.
4? How many people live in the house?
I'm not sure.
Okay, we'll ask him.
3?
Please come forward, sir. Okay, so you live there?
Yes.
Who else lives there with you?
My son and a friend of mine is staying with me.
Mm-hmm. What?
I'm working on the part of getting the cars out of the way. I just got to find places that could take them or sell them, whatever.
Are they all operable, or?
They all run. They all run.
Are they all licensed?
They
Well,
run. There's no junk vehicle on the property.
They all tagged though? They have tags?
They all
on?
tagged and.
They're all running condition. They're all insured. Yes.
Oh, they all tagged, you said.
Yeah.
They're all tagged.
So how many cars are we talking about here?
4.
There are 3 people and 4 cars.
Yeah.
You have a garage?
I do, but it's like in most of Florida, you don't park your car in the garage.
Well, you can't park it on the lawn here,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Was this?
Well, like I said, I'm working on it. I'm trying to.
Okay, well,
find
good.
Where I can
Mr.
get
Alderman?
Okay.
along.
Mr.
But
Alderman?
the other thing that I have to do is my backyard. I have to mow that yet, and that's it.
Okay.
Mr. Alderman?
Now, it says tarp on the back of the building. What does that, what's that?
Well,
Why is there a tarp on the back
There
of the
was a
building?
little bit of a leak on the back part of the roof, so we had a tarp on there.
Do you still have a tarp on there?
Well, I pulled it off the other day. I mean, because it got all ripped off, the sheet tarp, and from the wind and everything, it got all ripped
Yeah,
up.
well,
and it was hanging
that's
off
what
the
happens
side
to
of the
tarps.
house,
Mhm.
so I got that off there.
Are you planning to repair that, or are you planning to throw
Yeah,
another
yeah,
tarp up?
yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna be repaired.
Make sure you pull your permit.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Of course.
Mr. Alderman, is this complaint driven?
Yes,
Yeah, this is complaint driven, okay.
correct. It is complaint driven.
Well, there's nothing, so all these, there's nothing here that says anything about the roof other than there's a tarp on it, right? Tarp on the back of the building. What does that mean?
Well, I have had issues accessing roofs, and that's as close as I can get.
Okay.
I thought of looking at the adjoining apartments and looking down if I could possibly.
Get it. Because once the tarp comes off, then will there be an additional violation if the roof's not fixed?
It is very possible, yes.
All right. So I think this is pretty straightforward for next time. The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in non-compliance or respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, 12/5/2018, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Harrington, motion. Second? Second. Okay,
Madam Speaker, can I say one more thing?
yeah, before we take, well, we'll take the second from Mrs. Roby, and go ahead.
Okay. On the second
we'll
page,
vote.
under IPMC 304, I did put on repair roof on rear structure removed.
Okay.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah, okay, good, thank you. Good.
We ready for a vote?
All right, now we need a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. We're done.
No, we got to excuse, Miss.
Oh, did we hear from her at all? Yes, we're finished. All right. Ms. Himes has made a motion to excuse Ms. House. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Harrington, the second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed. We need
Ms. Roby and Ms. McLean, any questions at all about the meeting or anything?
If they don't show, is there anything that can be done for them not even showing, or?
Well, they have to, assuming that they was properly served with the certified mail, came back and they're properly served.
As long as they're notified properly and they don't show up, that's...
And usually it's one or two ways. Either they have to get the certified mail, or they could post the property 10 days prior to the hearing, and that's proper service.
But once they get served and they don't show.
Then they're in luck.
So, but can we make the fines higher for those people?
Yeah, it may depend. Not because
well, you wouldn't make it. You try not to punish them for not showing in particular, but when somebody does show up, that they're making an effort.
Right.
So, you kind of just balance. You kind of just balance that.
That's what I was thinking. It's kind of like they get served and they look at it and go.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. So
So that's what I'm saying.
That's why.
If people come in, then maybe we can make their fines smaller.
Well, I don't know whether we make them smaller because they can be just as egregious in their, but it does.
It shows at least they're willing.
Shows good faith.
Sometimes we might give them more time or whatever because they can explain their extenuating circumstances. Mr. Jackson.
Oh,
okay.
Ma'am, that we still on record if you are.
Oh, okay. Meeting adjourned. Okay. We can.